friends, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me today for this general reading for Leo, Sun, Moon, and Rising for the upcoming week, July 26th to August the 1st. We are in the season of Leo right now. So happy birthday, Leo. Today's your birthday. And the Lionsgate portal has opened as of the 26th of July. So lots of interesting transformative energy around town here for all the astrological placements. But let's see what messages we have for Leo. And don't forget to like and subscribe if this reading resonates for you. I appreciate all of your likes and your comments. It's always so nice to connect with you. Okay, let's see what's going on here for our Leo friends. Okay, Leo. Okay, Leo. All right, my Leo friends, it looks like you are feeling a bit, you're feeling a bit blue. You're feeling a little bit blue. You're feeling a little bored when it comes to your emotions. You're feeling bored. You're feeling restless. You're not completely mindful of your day-to-day. You're thinking about things that you want, that you don't have. You're thinking, why me? Why not me in some cases? And as a result, you're not even seeing this beautiful cup coming in here. So it's interesting. And that feeling that you have is sort of creating a very deep level of dissatisfaction. It's blocking you from understanding that you actually have it all. You have it all, Leo. You have stability, you have security, you have a partner, it looks like. You have people in your life that are rock solid, right? And it's almost like your lack of mindfulness of what you have in the present moment is clouding you from seeing it, from seeing what you have and being grateful for it. And it's an interesting theme to see here, Leo. It's almost like you're at a place where you're wondering why. Maybe there is something that is emotionally difficult for you to accept, albeit stable. It's still something that you're having a hard time accepting. I see that at the root of this feeling of boredom and dissatisfaction that you have, there's a loss here. There's a conflict that led to some sort of separation, and it's hurting your feelings. Okay, Leo, your feelings are hurt. And as a result, it's sort of throwing you upside down with respect to this idea that you need to be gentle with yourself. I think you're being too hard on yourself here, Leo. You might be attributing much of that conflict to yourself instead of seeing that, sometimes things just are outside of our control. You have the 10 of Pentacles here and the 10 of Cups, which, and then, it's really interesting. I really think you're starting a new cycle here, Leo, but it's almost like you've got to change how you're thinking about it. You can't keep the same perspective. If you keep the same perspective of how come not me, and why not now, and why did this have to happen to me, and it's like in the past you had this vision of how things would be, and it didn't quite turn out the way you thought it would, but that doesn't mean it turned out in a way that doesn't serve you. It looks like you've been served and you're secure, but it's like there's this overall emotional feeling of dissatisfaction that will change if you change your perception of your situation. You need some more grounding here. This Page of Pentacles is telling us we need to be gentle with ourselves and mindful of what is going on in our day-to-day. The Knight tends to give us that emerging energy of developing the tasks of our daily life, but certainly the Page, in telling us to be gentle with ourselves, is saying we need to be more grounded in the day-to-day. Instead of having these I'll be happy when or I'll be happy if sort of ideas in our mind, we need to understand that you can be happy now. You don't need to be happy when or if something happens. There's plenty to be grateful for in our everyday if we just pay attention to it. This came up for another sign as well. So it's a really interesting here for you, Leo. You have been taking some time though, which is good. You're taking time in solitude, which I'm happy to see that you're withdrawing a little bit to try to understand your inner world on your own, which is going to be good because, you know, when we try to process too much of our experience with the outer world, we end up receiving their projections, right? Like if you talk to someone about something and that thing that you're talking about is like their worst nightmare, they're going to definitely say, don't do it. What are you crazy? Why are you going to take that risk? Or, you know, if you talk to someone who might not be very cautious, they might say, yeah, go for it, and not encourage you to check things out thoroughly. You got to go with you. You got to go with what feels right for you, and you need to process this emotional feeling and this separation. There is something that is separate from the way you thought it would be, you know, and the rest of the world sort of sees you as overthinking and avoiding consequences. Okay, so there may have been some stuff that happened that you just can't wrap your brain around, and as a result you're like sort of wondering, why me? You're in a why me place. But the rest of the world is like, well, you know what, asking yourself why is one way to approach it, but you've eventually got to face the consequences of whatever that was. So whatever this separation is, Leo, it's time to sort of take the blindfold off and just face it. You've got to face it, or else you're going to be stuck feeling this emotional boredom and a dissatisfied feeling for longer than you would if you faced it. You know what I mean? I mean, it's totally up to you in terms of how you decide to approach this. However, there does seem to be some advice here that the way you're going about thinking about this is bringing you more of what you don't want. It's almost like you're worrying. You're worrying, and worrying is a prayer for the things that we don't want to happen. You know what I mean? And it's manifestation in reverse, right? The magician in reverse here. You're not able to bring in the energies that you desire because you're not embodying them. You're craving them. And when we crave, that becomes the thing. That becomes the impediment. The wanting becomes the goal. And that implies that you don't have enough, which, okay, the universe will just keep serving that up to you then. So it's almost like your overthinking is creating the opposite effect that you want or desire. Do you know what I mean? And the guidance for you is to just be patient and realize that everything takes the natural cycle and time that it takes. And it takes time for water to move from one chalice to the other. But Archangel Michael is not worried about it. He's got 1 foot in the emotion and 1 foot on the land. And he is just taking his time, the divine time, and he's very patient. Okay, very, very patient. This is Sagittarius energy. This is for you, Leo, something that you need to practice, I think, because you are more about having that raw, fiery confidence to just charge ahead. And that's not serving you right now. Right now, you need quiet contemplation and patience and an understanding that things in life sometimes take the shape that they need to for us to learn something. It might not be the desired outcome, but it might have, or it does have a truth in there that's valuable for you at that time in your life, right? Even if it's not desirable. I mean, being human, the name of the game is we're afraid of suffering, right? Human beings do not like to suffer, and we will avoid suffering at pretty much any cost until we understand the idea behind the mind and its perception of suffering and its perception of the things that cause suffering. And it's really the ego that suffers. The spirit doesn't suffer, it's the ego that suffers. And so the ego is constantly craving pleasure. The ego doesn't want to sit in reflection. The ego doesn't want to face consequences. The ego is not interested in painful separations, right? So it's like that's where that perspective shift is really going to serve you, Leo, is trying to see the world in a new way, right? Trying to use different perspective to understand your experiences. And sitting in that Hermit card is the perfect place to do that. It really, really is. Okay, let's get you an angel card to close your reading, Leo. Thank you. Learning experience. Absolutely. That's what I was just saying, that sometimes experiences happen because there's something we need to learn about the aspect of our personality, or something we need to learn about ourselves and the way we react or the way we feel about things. It's all about learning. So this idea that things didn't turn out the way exactly that you thought, and as a result you're feeling sort of dissatisfied and why me, sit in that for a bit, but don't sit in it with judgment. Sit in it outside of judgment and just with the eyes of compassion and love, in order to understand what was the learning experience. What was this experience designed to teach me about myself? Very, very clear reading for you this week, Leo. It's time to just do some investigation and understand these learning experiences in a place that doesn't include judgment. Okay? No judgment allowed. All right, I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you so much for joining me for this reading. If this reading has resonated with you and you'd like a personal reading, my email is in the description below. And as always, thank you so much for liking, subscribing, and watching. And we'll see you again real soon for another reading. Sending you lots of love and light, my Leo friends.